Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Mario, Chaos, and the Kid Show. I'm your co-host, Mario Mancini. I'm a former WWE wrestler and co-instructor of Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling, along with Pretty Paul Roma, Big Steve Tracy, and the man behind the glass, Paul Perez. Seated to the right of me is a man who defines chaos by turning over trucks with banana peels in them.
Where are you going with this, Mancini?
He is none other than the guardian of chaos, the 2019 inductee into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, and my very dear friend, BigDaddy. BigDaddy, what's going on?
Well, how are you, Mario?
Well, listen, I'm a little, as they say in Italian, I'm a little mouchad, but I'm all right.
A little mouchad. I'm going to say this, Mancini.
Yeah.
You look tremendous.
I look tremendous?
Listen, I've said this about you before. I know I'm repeating myself. You got a nice little shape up. Take away the looks. Take away the charm. Take away the money. And you remind me a lot of George Clooney.
BigDaddy, you're too kind.
And seated to the left of me is a man whose L in luck has been changed to an F. And that is the Kid. How you doing, Matt?
Doing great, BigDaddy. New year. Not really a new me, but we're rolling with it.
And let me ask you a question. Are you cold, Kid?
No, I'm not cold.
Because you have the hood on, and I like that you're representing the L.A. Chargers. I get it. Listen, you're unbelievable on Twitter, but right now with the hood on, you know what you look like?
What do I look like?
You look like all you have to do is take up the back of it, and you look like a used condom with a reservoir tip. I don't know if you know anything about that.
No, I don't know anything about used condoms.
Well, let's not get off the rails here. We're going to try not to get too crazy. We're coming to you live from the Diadamo and Tracy Bail Bonds studio. We have a lot of information coming up, fans. We have a lot going on in Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling. There's a lot of huge news out in the professional wrestling world.
There is?
And I'm going to say this, Mancini.
There's
this is
big news?
There's huge news. You see, you wouldn't know about this, and you know why?
I'm not acclimated with that word huge, BigDaddy.
I like the way you say it. Mancini, you get it, Mancini. That's something I would usually say, Mancini.
Is there any small news in professional wrestling?
Well, Mancini, I did hear at one point in the high school locker room, they used to call you Tree, whatever that means. And I don't want to say who they used to call Shrub, because he just got out of high school and he's seated to the left of me. I don't want to give... Listen, there's a lot of people out there between the 18 to 25 demographic. And listen, there's a lot of people here tonight in the audience. I don't know what's going on at Mario, Chaos, and the Kid podcast, but each week, the crowd is growing by leaps and bounds. We are available for bookings. We are going on the road with the podcast.
Well, BigDaddy, I have to tell you something. The contract's not signed yet, and I'm not making it public because you know what? One time I made it public that I wanted Maria Manic, and someone scooped her right underneath from me and said, if you work for me, but if you work for PAPW, it'll never work for me again. So, but I am telling you that I cut a deal today.
Is this breaking news, Mancini?
For a wrestling show this summer.
In Buffalo.
In Connecticut.
A legend in Buffalo, Kid.
In Connecticut. And the minute my John Hancock is right on...
Mancini, you are incorrigible tonight. You just said John Hancock. What is going on here? We're off the rails in the first 5 minutes here on Mario, Chaos, and the Kid. Speaking of that, Kid, I thought you were going... Mancini's talking about Hancock. Don't you have that trip coming up to Bangkok?
Not anymore. We're headed to Florida in 2 days, though.
You're headed to Florida. What do you got going on in Florida? Are you going down to visit Tony Khan from the Jacksonville
Big
Jaguars.
Daddy, this is what I
Mancini.
think. This is what I think happened.
Go ahead.
He
Tell
went
me.
down to Florida.
I'm going to break out. I won't
He
break
went
out
down
with
to Florida.
AEW news.
Listen, he went down to Florida before.
Every other fucking fan
Right.
of wrestling is talking about
He went
AEW.
Oh, listen.
The fuck are we talking about?
You know he went down to Florida
Cocksucker.
before.
Wait, did I just say that too early?
How long ago were you at Florida, kid? A month ago?
2 weeks ago.
You were in Florida 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You got some gash. Now you can't stay away from it.
No.
Wait, Mancini, now
I'm
listen,
going with
I want to
family.
break this down for a second because we already had the episode about the little man in the canoe.
Well,
And
you
now
made me explain the
I
little
made
man
you.
in the boat.
How did I
to him.
make you say this?
You said Mancini explained the little man in the boat to
You
the
were
kid.
the one that just said the word gash.
It does look like a little man in the boat when you look down at it. It's round and it's got that little piece of skin in it, and it looks like the guy's, you know.
Stroke!
That's what Billy Squire said.
Wow, Mancini, I don't know what's gotten into you. You're full of piss and vinegar. And speaking of that, this is episode 9 of Mario Chaos and the Kid. So I might as well ask the question now. I'm going to start with Paul Perez first. Perez, pissed off or pissed on? Perez, listen, there's nobody that answers faster than Perez. Roma, I apologize for this, Paul. I know you cannot stand this part of the show. But, hey, Perez jumped in fast. He said pissed on. Mancini, the vote is in for you? I know we went through this the last several weeks. What is the vote, Mancini?
What is that, pissed off or pissed on?
Yes.
Listen, I'm into a lot of shit. Okay? I really am. I really am. And I've been called sick in my day and demented. Never a pervert, though. But I've been called sick and demented.
Never a pervert.
No, but
that's for damn sure.
Yeah, I've been called sick and demented.
So let's get back on to pissed off
Big
for pissed
Daddy,
on.
I would rather be pissed off than pissed on.
All right, we're going to go to the 18 to 25 demographic, and I don't really give a fuck who doesn't like it. To be quiet. Roma, I give a fuck if you like it, though, Roma. I love you, Paul Roma. I swear to God, Roma. Paul, I am begging for mercy. Young Stallions, Paul Roma, for Horsemen, Power and Glory. Listen, it's pretty wonderful. And you know what about Roma? When he goes to the bathroom, he has his hands full. And I'm going to say that to say this. Kid, pissed off or pissed on?
I'm going to have to go pissed off on that one.
Well, so,
Because
listen.
if you're pissed on, you can also be pissed off at the same time.
Oh, that's a valid point, kid. See, the 18 to 25 demographic, they may get it. Now, I'm going to go with pissed off myself, although I will say I have pissed on a few people. I'm not saying it was on purpose. It might have been a little negligence on my side. I'm not quite sure what happened. It might have been a mistake. The water, it makes you go to the bathroom. It makes you urinate. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Just like that time, Big Daddy, there was oil, there was a slick. The guy
I was drunk.
The guy
Wait,
just,
listen. It was only one time he was wearing a dress.
It fell and it just ended up in your mouth.
No. Listen, there was duct tape involved.
I understand.
He tripped and fell. I fell onto him and fell into his mouth. It was one time I was drunk. He was wearing a dress. We went through this already, Mancini. Now, listen, I hear an extra voice in the crowd because fans, breaking news.
Well, let me tell you something, Big Daddy.
Well, go ahead, say
the man sitting to my left, I'm glad I waited Monday to go home to eat because I would have threw up. I saw him throw the most vicious fucking clothesline I've ever seen, and this is 2019, so you know what that means? 35 years in the wrestling business. It turned my stomach. Listen, seated to the left of me is none other than Big Jym Anderson.
Say it again, Mancini.
Big Jym Anderson.
I want to hear the kid say it with his voice of the golden smog. Say it.
Big Jym Anderson.
And let me introduce him the proper fucking way. Sitting across the table from me is Strong Style. 6'3", 300 pounds. He's agile, mobile, hostile, and nimble. And that is Big Jym Anderson. And he's here because we have breaking news in 2019. Go ahead, Mancini. Big Jym is here. Would you fucking miss the spot? You're worse than me. I'm going to tell the same story that I've been telling for the last 10 years. Bubba Ray said it to me, Bully Ray, if you will. Give Big Daddy 5 spots, and he fucks up 4 of them. You just fucked up the spot, man.
Big Daddy, I just said we got something big coming this summer that I didn't
But expect. You thought you were talking about Roma when he went to the bathroom.
Let me tell you something. Roma was the architect of it. I just closed it, but he was the architect of this thing, and I'm very excited to do it, and we all will be very excited to do this.
Did I tell you that I love Paul Roma? I really do. He's a family man. He's a Christian. He's a legit badass.
Well, let me tell you something.
He's very vascular.
I am fortunate.
Mancini. Vascular.
Listen, I am very fortunate that I have 4 people in my life that.
Just 4?
Well, there's 4 people I know over 30 years.
You'd never know it by your contact list, Mancini.
Well, I got a big contact list, but you know what I'm saying.
More than Donald Trump.
I think I'm very considerably lucky because I could just have memories and be going, I wonder how Roma's doing. I wonder how Perez is doing. I'm fortunate to see these people every week of my life, and it's amazing.
It's very humbling.
It's very listen.
It's an honor.
Listen, Roma knows. It's unsaid. Roma knows what he means to me. Perez knows. Big Steve knows.
Did I tell you what Paul Roma means to me? That I love that man. I love Paul Roma. I'm Paul right now. If you're listening, and I know you are, I am putting up a heart sign right now. Mancini can verify it. Kid, what am I doing right now for pretty Paul Roma? A heart sign.
Yeah.
And if you go out to the Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling.com website, you can get Paul's shoot video called Glorified, where Paul talks about everything from racism in the WWE to road stories to sex scandals. And Perez, can he hear me behind the glass?
He could. You have to be insane if you're a hardcore wrestling fan and you don't get that podcast because nobody lays it out like Roman. It's all the truth.
Well, when you say nobody lays it out like Roma,
that's what I call the shoot video, right, Big Jim? Thanks for correcting me there, Big Jim.
Wait, Mancini, let's get back to the point. When you say no one rolls it out like Roma.
No, don't twist my words, Big Daddy.
I'm not
That's
twisting
my brother
it.
now. Don't twist my words.
No. When you say he rolls it out, is that akin to the movie? And I said it once before. If anyone has ever seen the movie
Deliverance. No.
Wait, I lost my voice. No. Man. Wow, Big Jim. Folks, you can't hear Big Jim right now because he's not on air, but let me tell you something. The cops came up behind Big Jim when he first got here, and they told him to break it up. And it was just him. He's so big, he's got 2 zip codes. But see, now, because Big Jim is here, I am distracted. But let's get on to the new... Big Jim, did I tell you that I love Paul Roma? Have I told you that I love Roma? I want that to be on the description. Big Daddy, the Guardian of Chaos, loves Paul Roma. But anyway...
Well, you're in good company, Big Daddy.
Thank you. But let's get back to what you were talking about. Big Jim is here. We're going to go on to... We have January 26th coming up for Retribution. Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling at Joseph Malillo Middle School. The night before, down here at the facility... January 25th is free for all.
That's because admission is free, Big Daddy.
Well, it's like our Fan Appreciation Day, except it's at night, so to speak.
It's a fan appreciation.
I'm just saying. It's a fan appreciation night, I guess, so to speak. Well, Big Jim, it's like the peanut gallery down here at Diadamo and Tracy Bailbound Studio. And Big Jim is nuttier than a porterlet at a peanut convention. Well, but let's get on to...
Go ahead.
Well, no, I want to hear what the kid has to say because we've got a lot of news tonight. Retribution, free for all. Listen, trying to get something out of Roma is like trying to open up 15 shelves.
Well, let me remind you again, Big Daddy. You got January 25th. You got free for all Friday night alley fights. You have January 26th, New Year's Retribution. You got February 23rd. You got March 23rd. You got April 13th.
You're going way too fast. I got to
it's
take
for
out
the
my calendar.
LGBTQ.
Now, see, I want to talk about that briefly. April 23rd at the historical, legendary Main Street Strand Theater.
You'll be there all by yourself because it's April 13th.
April 13th.
It'll be a little late, Big Daddy.
I'm a day late and $1 short as usual. Listen, I am a grower, not a shower, Mancini.
Big Daddy, what you have to do before we do this show so your mind is clear is maybe you need to rub one out and then come down here and do the show.
He needs to fluff it out.
What'd you say, kid?
He needs to fluff it out.
Isn't there a place right down here?
It's out of business.
That's a rub and tug?
No, it's out of business.
It's out of business.
He was right on that one.
It's out of business.
I don't believe that for a while.
I remember the day it went out of business. I was crying in the parking lot like a baby. No, I'm only kidding. No. But it's been busted more than several times by the East Haven police. If you want to rub and tug, you got to go to Waterbury.
Well, that's not a good thing, Mancini. Guys like you, guys like me, we don't need something like that. Now, the kid, I can't speak.
Oh, no, you're right, Big Daddy. The women are just crawling all over me.
Now, when you say crawling, what does that mean, Mancini? Listen, let's get back to Roma. I was able to get one very, very important bout that has been signed for Retribution on the 26th. I told you Roma's tough. This is what I was told from Roma himself. United States heavyweight champion Sergeant Murray is in a triple threat match with All Hail the King, Nutrius X, and returning, Chump Suckers Aware, Showtime Marcel Williams. That's what I was told. Hey, fans, card is subject to change. So I'll say that to say this. So that was a leak that I got. And I'm not talking about Dianne Feinstein, with Trump. She's a leaker.
I said that about my underwear, Big Daddy.
Listen, I think I said that a couple of times already.
Subject to change.
Subject to change. So Paradise Alley, while we have him here, all right, we're going to have him slide in because I really want to get Big Jym Anderson on the air. And I know that we have breaking news here. Mancini, can I let this out of the bag? Big Jym, maybe you should. I'm hearing, and I heard this from the front office, Paul Perez, Mario Mancini, Big Steve, Roma especially. He is the boss. Roma, you heard that, right? You know I love you, Roma. You are the boss. Make no mistake about that. Big Jym Anderson and the Meadowlands Monster. That's what the kid heard through bodyslam.net. That's what's been reported on Twitter pages. I've heard it from several different sources. Kid, what can you add to this? And we'll have Big Jym comment on what we think is going to be a monster, so to speak, tag team.
I've been saying for weeks, Meadowlands and Big Jym, they're going to be taking over the tag team division. They're coming for those titles, I'm telling you. I know Big Jym, I don't know what you have your sights on with Meadowlands.
Listen, I've been sitting out for a year and watching the landscape of PAPW turn into what it's turned into. And let me see, we got an Amish kid that's an Intercontinental Champion. We got a part-time Showtime. We got, let me see, what else do we got? We got
Big Jym, is this going to turn into a shoot interview?
I just don't care.
Well, fans, you're hearing it here from Big Jym Anderson. I'm going to sit back and attempt to be quiet. Big Jym, the floor is yours here on Mario Chaos and the Kid.
Listen, the Revelation, which is me and the Monster, we're coming to clean up. That's no ifs, ands, or buts. We are the biggest tag team in Paradise Alley right now. There's nobody bigger than us. There's nobody meaner. There's nobody badder. And you're looking at devastation. That's all you're looking at.
Well, I want to flash back to Dieselmania 3. That's where you came out with the 7-foot Meadowlands Monster, shocked the crowd. It was a packed house at Dieselmania 3 in remembrance of Michael J. D'Angelo. Dieselmania, unbelievable. When you came out, you shocked the crowd. 7-foot Meadowlands Monster. Big Jym Anderson, you look tremendous. You're looking lean. Who approached you? How did you come up with this? Where did you meet the monster? I know Jimmy Hoffa's buried at the Meadowlands. Did you meet him out there?
Me and Big Bruno have been friends for quite a few years, actually. And we just happened to reunite at Paradise Alley. So it's, it was one of those things where it was like, hey, what's up? He was like, hey, what's up? Paul was like, that's going to happen. And that's it.
So this was Roma's brainstorm here. An unbelievable team. I can compare it to some of the old teams back in the day. Undertaker and Kane. Listen, fans, I'm not getting crazy. I'm relating it to similar storylines that you folks out there with the brain of a dehydrated BB can understand what I'm saying. Look at the Twin Towers. Look at the different groups that have been out there. Kid, give me your opinion and break down the tag team division here in Paradise Alley, because we got a lot of news here tonight.
Breaking down the tag team division, well, Big Jym, the Meadowlands Monster, are going to break it down for us. But I have a question for Big Jym. Are you guys just going to be targeting tag teams or singles competitors?
We're going to try and do it all. It doesn't matter what. We're here to clean up.
So you're putting everyone on notice?
Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter what time it is. Doesn't matter where it is. That's what we're here to do.
So you're calling out the Paradise Alley professional wrestling locker room.
Yeah, would be the first time.
You're calling out the Filthy Family. You're calling out the Pyramids of Power.
Bring them on.
You're calling out collusion.
Bring them on. Oh, Fat Charlie Brown and the Arabic Peanuts gang. Bring them, please, God.
Wow, Mancini. Big Jym is on a roll tonight. So you're telling me that you are calling out their house, their rules. 1,000 pounds of pressure per slap. The tag team champions? The House of Pain?
Oh, definitely bring that on. Definitely bring
Have
that
you
on.
seen Hakeem Ali lately?
I've worked Hakeem Ali.
Roma's personally guiding him right now.
He's a bad man. I'm not going to take anything away from Hakeem. Doesn't matter to me.
Now, this is what I want to ask, and I want the kid's input because he's been around Paradise Alley. The kid goes to all the live WWE events, Ring of Honor. He's going to be going to MLW. He travels around with Holiday. I don't know if he's Holiday's fluffer. I don't know if Holiday would like to even hear that. And Holiday, if you're listening, I don't apologize for that because you grabbed Joey Ryan's penis. So, hey, it's not my fault. I still love you, though, kid. And it was a good career move. But break it down. Break down what you think they're going to face as they come in. We're not in touch with Roma tonight in the front office. I would like to see you come in and face collusion. You guys are, for as bad as you are, I don't think the front office is going to have you come in and jump right into a title match. Who do you got? I know you called out the locker room. The kid said it. Who are you setting your sights on as the first victim for possibly the 26th or maybe even into February?
Anybody dumb enough to get in the ring with me and Brune, bring them on. You got to be.
That's scary, kid.
You got to be insane. You got to be insane. I've been sitting out for a year. That's a year of me being pissed off about watching how.
Oh, Big Jym. Speaking of that, not to cut you off.
Yeah, we never got his vote.
And you know I do this all the time. This
pissed off. You don't even have to ask.
Wow, I didn't even get a chance to ask the question. Big Jym is with it. He said pissed off. So it's official.
Perez is the only one with pissed on.
Perez, you know what,
He's been
Perez?
in weird shit for his whole life. I don't know.
Cancel my subscription to your issues, Perez. If he can hear me behind the glass. So coming up on the 26th, into February, March, April 13th. That's right, Mancini. I fucking remembered it. April 13th at the Strand Theater for the LBGT community. Judgment free. It's going to be an unbelievable, phenomenal event. As a matter of fact, just to show you how historic the Strand Theater is, you know who's there this weekend? The Artie Lang from the Howard Stern Show. Listen, he may be sniffing lines or glass or shards of metal.
Listen, one of my all-time favorite comics is Artie Lang. I feel bad for all he's going through. The guy, one drug charge after another, but he still manages to come out on top, and he's not dead yet.
Have you seen his nose?
Oh, yeah.
Kid, are you familiar with Artie Lang?
I don't even know who that is.
You're a terrible person.
Kid,
You're a terrible
let's
person.
run down the list of people that you had no idea who they were.
I wasn't even born for when they were in there.
Mario Mancini's favorite, and Paul Perez hates this guy, Michael Bolton. You didn't know who he was. Now you don't know
The guy's from New Haven.
You don't know who Laverne and Shirley is. Now that we got you on here, this is another question that we're going to have to ask you. Who would you bang? Laverne or Shirley? We're going back episodes.
I know, I'm thinking. That's a tough one. Is it Penny Marshall's annoying voice or the other one? Because nobody knows what her name is anyway.
Well, we did. No, it's Shirley Feeney.
Probably Feeney.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you're the only one that said that because as Mario Mancini said, Laverne had a little je ne sais quoi, so to speak. So this is the announcement that we have. Big Jym, it's excellent that you're here. coming up for Retribution on the 26th and the 25th free-for-all, teaming up with the Meadowlands Monster.
Oh, no, I'm wrestling singles on the 26th.
Now, is there an opponent lined up for that?
I believe it's Gino from the SWO, if I remember correctly.
Gino is embroiled in a feud with Nutrius X. I wonder if he'll be bald, kid.
Bald? Probably. I don't know. I haven't seen him since then, I don't think.
Well, back to Dieselmania 3.
Back to Dieselmania 3. Well, last couple of shows I missed, I was at ROH. I was at the MSG show. I haven't been the last, 2 shows?
Well, kid, you're still a monster part of Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling.
Yeah.
And I want to mention this because I didn't get a chance to mention it. Boy, did you guys really fuck up a couple weeks back for JD from NY 206 and his show Off the Script. Let me finish. JD, who is the ring announcer for House of Glory, Amazing Red, Brian Fury, excellent group out of New York City.
I know there. Yep.
And the kids, bodyslam.net, erroneously reported about Cassius Ohno. And boy, did JD from NY Off the Script fucking slam bodyslam.net. That went viral. He's got over 100,000 subscribers.
I know.
That's my boy, JD. It wasn't the kid. Had nothing to do with the kid. But break down that blunder.
See, that was not me. That wasn't my report. That was a different exclusive.
Well, kid, we know that. That's why you're here with Mario Mancini.
Oh, yeah. But that was Cassidy's report. I don't want to throw Cassidy under the bus, but he needs to recheck some of his
Throw
stuff.
him under the fucking bus.
We'll throw him under the bus a little bit. It wasn't my report. It was his, but it was totally wrong because Cassius Ohno leaving NXT, just a stupid move. But he's been down there for a while. He did leave back in 2013, came back, et cetera, et cetera. That wasn't the right report. We got called out on it from different websites, different news outlets, whatever it may be.
Listen, none bigger than Off the Script. He did it during his NXT review. 4 or 5 minutes in, they get called out by JD. It's unbelievable. You have to go back to it, but they recovered nicely from it.
And we also got slammed by Cassius Ohno, if you saw that tweet.
Yes, I did see that. You guys garner a lot of attention, whether it's from Seth Rollins, Jim Cornette, Cassius Ohno, JD. I mean, tread lightly, my friend.
Has it been negative? All negative?
Well, it was a false report because my friend Cassidy, who I run the site with, said that
We're putting the kid on the spot here.
Cassius Ohno was leaving NXT, but obviously he's not. And he was telling other indie promotions
Priceless.
that he's going to be open for bookings in a couple months. But obviously it was a terrible.
Hamana, Jackie Gleason, Hamana. Do you know who Jackie Gleason is?
My head hurts.
Sounds familiar.
He has no idea.
You don't know who Jackie Gleason is?
No. If I look up a picture, it'll ring a bell.
Oh,
now, Perez, how many minutes in are we right now? That's not bad. We're less than a half an hour. So we're going to get back onto Big Jim. I want you right now, because I cut you off because that's what I do. My old lady right now is pissed, and she would rather be pissed off than pissed down too, because when I tried, she slapped the shit out of me. Pep, don't get mad. You know I love you. I didn't piss on you. You know I didn't. I didn't, Mancini. I didn't do it.
Big Daddy, she's going to kill you.
She is.
She
She
dribbled
is.
a little,
So
that's all.
she gets.
She's going to kill you.
You were just ready to call out the whole dressing room, and you had opinions on all the champions, from Mick Drake to Zachariah Gibbs to the House of Pain and to potential customers for the Meadowlands Monster.
I didn't make any opinions on the House of Pain because they're hard workers and they're there all the time.
I'm not saying that, but you were calling out the whole locker room. Doesn't that call them? Don't back up now, Big Jim.
I'm not backing up on anything. I want those belts. I'm just saying the landscape of the company is a little funny.
Now, when you say the landscape of Paradise Alley is a little funny, break it down.
Where's our champ?
Well, that's a good question. That may be a question for Mario Mancini. Now, when you talk about where's our champ...
Wait. So when did he win that belt?
Where is the champ? Mick Drake. That's who we're talking about.
So November.
Mick Drake, for fans that don't know, is the current Paradise Alley professional wrestling heavyweight champion. He went to Rutgers University. He's an attorney. He could slam dunk a basketball. He looks like an old-time Pampero Furtbo. And we Googled that on episode 1 or 2, Pampero Furtbo. So what's your opinion on the heavyweight champion, Big Jim?
Talented, just wish he was around more.
You wish he was around more.
Oh, of course.
It's comparable to Brock Lesnar as well. Talented, doesn't show up, but I can relate to what he's saying.
An interesting comparison to Mick Drake and Brock Lesnar about being vacant champions.
Vacant champions.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's move on from that. Mick Drake is our champion. Listen, he's one hell of an athlete. He's had some unbelievable matches.
Not taking anything away from him.
Listen, he's busy defending the title all over the country, Big Jim. But it's a valid point. It's a valid point, my friend. Give me your opinion on the Intercontinental Champion, Roma trained, snot-nosed kid that pinned Mancini at the Mohegan Sun Casino. That was your fucking cue. You did it again, Mancini.
Don't you, Big Daddy?
That's.
You just can't get it out of your fucking...
Well, he fucking pinned you at the Mohegan Sun.
He got lucky.
He didn't get lucky. Zachariah Gibbs pinned you.
He got lucky.
3 is a 3.
I wasn't paying attention.
So you're saying that you're so
aren't
poor
you
you can't pay attention, Mancini?
Aren't you a veteran? I wasn't paying attention. I was looking the other way. He hooked me.
That sounds like the story about the guy wearing a dress and duct tape and you tripped and you fell. I don't know if anybody can hear Mancini.
It only happened one time.
Well, Mancini claims he was drunk. So, Big Jim, give
For
me
a guy
your...
who doesn't drink, you know.
He doesn't drink, you know that. Mancini lives the straight edge life. You know what? The last thing I had on the Super 8 at my house, and you can relate to this, Mancini, was from the New Haven Coliseum, Ivan Polish Power Putski against the superstar Billy Graham from the New Haven Coliseum on Super 8. Could you talk into the fucking microphone, Mancini?
You want to know how they used to start those matches off?
Tell me.
They used to put a table in the middle of the ring, and they would start the match arm wrestling. And then Putski would get the better of Graham, and then Graham would take the table from the chair from underneath him and whack Putski with it. And there the match began.
I believe I have the arm wrestling match from the New Haven Coliseum on that Super 8.
That's how Putski and Graham started off all the time.
That was their program.
Ivan Putski used to sit in the dressing room and eat a whole onion like an apple. Nobody would go next to him.
Can I put on some chapstick, Mancini? My lips are feeling a little chafed, so I'm going to put on a little chapstick. Speaking now that we're going back and talking to legends, while I got you back here on the set, and look at Jim. Big Jim is the kind of guy that makes coffee nervous. You know that, right? He is. He's that kind of guy. But I want to get onto this one story, and it just came to my attention. I don't believe you had mentioned this before, because I was conferring via Twitter, because you know I'm on Twitter now, Mancini.
I'm proud of you, Big Daddy.
Today is Throwback Thursday on Twitter, on my page.
I'm proud of you, Big Daddy.
A picture with myself and Bruno Sammartino.
I wish I had the opportunity to do that. I did spend some extensive time with Bruno in 1999 on the night that you say you were there, but I don't remember.
I have proof that I was there, Mancini. You're always claiming that you have this unbelievable goddamn memory, and you say you're like an elephant and like Mike Francesa, and you can't remember shit,
Big
Mancini.
Daddy.
I have not
Big
only...
Daddy.
Wait, I'm not done, Mancini. Not only do I have video proof, I have photographic proof from that night.
Big Daddy, let me ask you something.
So how could you not remember that?
Let me ask you something.
I got to put my chapstick on.
Let me ask
Stand
you
by.
something. How many dressing rooms were there that night?
I don't know. I was in the mop closet. I don't remember. I shared my dressing room
Big
in a
Daddy,
mop closet.
Did you come up to me and say hello to me that night?
Yes, I was with Mark Thomas. I traveled with Mark Thomas down there. I was talking to Jim Cornette. Bruno, that picture that is on Twitter right now at The Guardian of C, the letter C, 1. The Guardian of C1 is from that fucking night. NAWA Slam Jam from the Westchester County Civic Center as the kid pulls up the picture from Twitter.
I wish I did that. I didn't. I'm really upset that I didn't.
So,
Can you Photoshop me in there, Big Daddy?
Right in the middle.
Can I
right in the
photo?
middle.
The kid will be able to do that. And now Big Jym is talking about. Here we go. Big Jym is talking about Joe Pesci from Lethal Weapon 2. It doesn't get any better than that.
Can I ask you something
Can
about
I
your
put
Twitter?
on my chapstick? I still have.
Go ahead, Big Daddy. Give me a chance to ask you the question. Now, does the C on your Twitter stand for chaos?
Yes, man. It does. Oh, and look, the kid has accessed my Twitter account, and who is the guardian of chaos on there with?
John
And that was way back Wednesday, myself and the #1 Make-A-Wish Foundation star in World Wrestling Entertainment. That's right, Vince McMahon, and I know you're fucking listening, Vince. Me
Why do you
and
always
John
have to motherfuck
Cena.
Vince?
I don't motherfuck
Why do you
Vince.
always
I
have
love
to-
Vince.
you always
Listen,
have to
everybody
say
listens to this
something
podcast.
derogatory about Vince.
Listen, I never had the opportunity or the honor to meet him. I never say anything derogatory about Vince. I love Vince. And back in the day when all the superstars were kissing his ass, if I was in the WWE and was fortunate enough, I would have kissed Vince's ass too. I wouldn't have sucked his cock, but I would have kissed his ass.
You know what? It was very seldom that I talked to Vince McMahon, but I'll always say this. He allowed me, and the operative word is allowed.
Yes.
Stay in that organization for 8 years.
Mario, I have never once, ever, and let me make this clear, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, because I know everybody from Busted Open Radio to JD, if you don't think that all these people are listening, you're wrong. I have never once badmouthed the McMahons. They own this business. I would be an asshole because, you know, my contract is waiting, right? Paul Perez told me I'm still a star. He said it earlier. Paul Perez told me that I am a star. And if Paul Perez says I'm a star, I don't care what anybody says. My contract is waiting from Vince. Vince, I'm ready to sign right now. I'm ready.
Did you just say that they're going to own this business?
I said they own it currently. Listen, with All Elite Wrestling, I don't know how much longer. Listen, Mario will tell you this because he worked for him. All Elite Wrestling, and we'll lead into this right now because I want to talk about Haku.
Well, you know what? If Vince is really listening,
he's listening, Mancini.
He should know that you really are the second coming of Lou Albano, and you should get a second. You should get a shot.
Well, it's funny that you should mention that because as I was working,
just on the microphone, if anything.
Well, I appreciate that, Mancini. It's very humbling coming from a star, a veteran, a savvy man as yourself, who's got the brain of a turnbuckle. but that's okay, Mancini. I'm very humble and honored by that. And it's funny you should mention Captain Lou because I'm going to bring up legendary people right now. A&E historian, New England Championship Wrestling owner, Sheldon Goldberg.
I love Sheldon. He's a good guy.
And the late, great Boston bad boy, Tony Rumble. Two very close people in my life at one time. They had an angle where they were bringing in Captain Lou Albano for the NWA and for New England Championship. And they approached me, and we were going to do a Captain Lou Albano Jr. gimmick with Lou. But unfortunately, the story of my life, Mancini, it didn't work out because Lou moved on to bigger and better things. But I was this close. I had him by the fucking short hairs. He thought he had two hairs. Wait, let me not get off the rails. I want to ask you something else. So those two people came up with and discussed that idea. Tony Rumble, Sheldon Goldberg. It doesn't get any better than that.
It doesn't.
I want to ask you something quickly because we're flashing back here. Whether it's John Cena, Bruno Sammartino. Did I mention Twitter?
And the C stands for chaos.
Chaos. The guardian of chaos.
C. The guardian of C.
One. What is your Twitter handle?
Degnan_Matt. It's pretty simple.
Degnan_Matt. And you know what,
Degnan_Matt.
Mancini? I don't know why the fuck you have any Twitter accounts because you got 15 Twitter accounts. They're all inactive. You got 5,000 goddamn.
I have an active Twitter account, Mario Mancini FKA.
And you haven't posted since 2012.
Do you know why, Big Daddy?
Why?
Because I don't know how.
Listen, if I could figure it out, and Pep,
I don't know how to post on Twitter.
If I could figure it out, a 3-year-old could
I don't
figure
know
it
how.
out.
If they named the twatter, I'd do it in a minute.
Did you say twatter?
Twatter.
Listen, I want to get on.
Do they have a site called Twatter?
That would sound like, was that something like farmerssingles.com or Christian Mingles? Because you know right now a lot of Christians are listening to this show right now. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And you know what
damn the hell, yeah.
And you know what I say? You know how? Well, now let me not go down that road. You know what kind of? Since I'm in the Christian move, you know what kind of meat priests eat?
No.
What kind of meat do priests eat? Think about it. None. I could say that now because half the priests are molesters. So I could, the Catholic Church, I could say that now, right?
I think they'd be out of trouble, though, Big Daddy, if they did eat none.
Did I just cross the religious line?
I don't know.
No, because it's proven. This is not fake news. This is stuff that was
You're
reported by Reuters and TMZ Sports.
You're protected by the First Amendment, Big Daddy.
That's right. I am protected by the First Amendment. So for all you losers
well, be careful of the hate speech.
No, I don't hate anybody. Mancini, what do we say here every week at Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling? Number one, we tell it like it is. Number two, we are all inclusive of every race, culture, color, creed, every orientation. It doesn't matter. We embrace. Because here at Paradise Alley, that's what we have. We have from every different group, organization, and background because that's what we're all about. That's what you're supposed to be about if you're a salt of the earth human being.
Daddy,
that's what we are.
Behind that microphone, it almost covers all your facial hair, and you look like you're 22. Anyway, Do they really have a site called Twatter? I'd really like to give that a lick.
Kid, listen, speaking of the kid, let's get back to the kid because we're not talking about professional wrestling here. I happened to get a video, nothing bad before anybody goes off the rails here because it was of somebody's feet. A car video
from
somebody's parent going a little off the rails.
That was my mother, yeah.
Wait, explain that video that you sent me, Matt.
So we were in Texas, and there was this biker. He was weaving in between traffic. I'm up to the mic. And
he just threw me under the fucking bus, the kid. Go ahead.
And he was going in between traffic, and he was a hardcore biker. He had the shorts, he had the goggles. He was into it.
See, what are you saying? He was a 1%er?
He was a 1%er.
Wow.
He was an EC3. So
he was no Hell's Angel.
No.
The 8-1, listen, those are great people. A lot of people talk a lot of things, whether you love them or hate them or not. The 8-1 are phenomenal people. Some of my good brothers and good friends, I love the 8-1. And I don't give a fuck who knows about it. How about that? Go ahead,
I usually
kid.
don't give a fuck, Big Daddy.
Go ahead,
but
kid.
She started yelling at the biker guy because he cut her off, and then he was kind of on her ass a little bit. So she called him a cocksucker.
She called him a what?
A cocksucker, right out the window.
Boy, that word is... Wait, hold on. Speaking of... as you're over there, Mancini, I want you to read Roma's rules. We do this every week. Here, hold on. Here at the Diadamo and Tracy Bale Bond studio at the Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling Training Facility. Roma's rules number one. One trainer Roma. Number two. When Roma is talking, keep your mouth shut. Mario added the fuck. Rule number 3, C number rule 1 and 2. And Mancini put in the fuck. Roma. Paul. Roma, you know I love you, right? Paul, I want to test my love for you because of just who you are as a person.
Well, you know what's coming up, Big Daddy.
Well, he kayfabed me again, Mancini. I tried to get some information out from Roma, and he kayfabed me. How about when I approached him at Dieselmania 3, we had an idea. He came up to me, and Roma looked at me, and he raised his hand, and he opened his mouth. He went to say something, and he turned, and he walked away. He didn't even say anything. He kayfabed me like 5 times. You know what? Now I'm starting to really go. You know who else kayfabes me? Big Steve Tracy. I am tired of being kayfabed. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. That's about, we're going to wrap it up for Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling. Big Jim, if you could stick around, I would greatly appreciate it. Not that you added a fucking thing to the program.
Wow, thanks a lot. Are you walking your car by yourself later?
Listen, Big Jim is about to kick my ass on the way out. If you've ever seen one of his clotheslines. Listen, I get threatened to get my ass kicked almost every week on this show by somebody.
The following WWE report is brought to you by Steve Tracy.
Fuck the WWE! We're not doing the WWE! We don't have time for Vince McMahon.
There
Wait,
you go on Vince again.
No,
Daddy.
I love
Why every week you got to say fuck the WWE?
I don't mean fuck the McMahons. I mean the WWE because I don't like the product. And right now, this is why I'm so happy tonight. The kid's got a half a boner. Okay? There's a little blood movement.
Well, let me tell you something. The kid's happy, but my son-in-law's heart was broken on Sunday because, of course, he bleeds.
So fuck AEW too. We won't talk about that.
Purple.
Let's
and the kid called the shot for the game. I asked him who thought he's going to win. He said the Chargers. I said, you're hoping with your heart. And he goes, no, I think they just have the edge on them. And that's how they beat them. An edge.
Go ahead. Is this Open Table Sports podcast on the Mario Chaos and the Kid Show?
We could turn it into that. We have the podcast tomorrow.
Yeah, but we don't. Yeah, but we don't have the cream team. You heard what Paul Perez said.
I'm here to talk wrestling. Can we shut the fuck up and get on with it?
Don't you listen? I'm about ready to shit myself when Big Jim starts talking, man. Holy Christ. Look at the size of this son of a bitch.
You know what I love about
You know who he reminds me of? Listen, I got to cut you off because I'm coming right back to you. Big Jim, I can akin him to, and again, fans, when I do this, don't get fucking crazy. Big Jim's one legit badass. As one legit badass to another, I want to bring up this story. I've been dying to ask you this story. Tell me the story, because you look a little tired tonight. You look a little peaked. And the last time you said that to the toughest man in professional wrestling. And that was, and I want to relay this because Big Jim's here. He's probably the toughest guy in Paradise Alley professional wrestling.
No doubt.
Could you think of, I couldn't think of one person that could kick Big Jim's ass.
No.
I couldn't think of one. So that's what leads me to your story with the legendary Haku.
Well,
Break it down,
Here's
Mancini.
the story, Big Daddy. I got home late from either Pennsylvania. I think it was Pennsylvania. I did a house show in I think it was Stroudsburg.
That would be Pennsylvania.
Yeah. And I got home at like 3:30 in the morning. And
It's past my bedtime, Mancini.
I went to bed and Terry Garvin called me.
Terry Garvin.
And he said, Mario, we need you in Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
That sounds like Tony Altamari.
No, that's Tony Altamari. This is Terry Garvin. Mario, we need you in Johnstown, Pennsylvania tonight. And I said, okay, where's that? Because back then, Big Daddy, we were on the road with paper maps.
Yeah, there was no GPS for this 18 to 25 demographic.
No, there was no GPS. We had maps. So I didn't look at it. I trusted Garvin. He went, about 40 miles east of Philadelphia. Well, I decided to leave at like noon. It was 40 miles east of Pittsburgh. It was 418 miles one way to Johnstown, PA.
On the road again, Mancini.
I got there at 8 on the nose. Gorilla Gino Monsoon
On the proboscis?
looks at me and says, you're late. I said, not only am I late, I rear-ended the back of a VW Rabbit on my way here.
Did you say
In my big green 1977 Thunderbird.
Rabbit?
Right. So now he goes, if I were you, I would have just turned around and went home. And I just gave him a dirty look. He goes, get dressed. I'll put you on after intermission. So I get dressed first and I go, and now I'm dragging ass. I'm beat. I'm tired. For all of you that...
That's over 400 miles, Mancini.
For all of you that look at us in this illustrious wrestling business, I'm dead on my feet, right? So now I look, there wasn't a board, he had a pad. I said, who am I working with? He goes, Haku. I said, oh, okay. So I go over to Haku, I go, you and I are working together. We talk over the finish, because back then, we didn't talk move the move. I'm going to bend your middle finger first.
Well,
and after
that's why you're old school.
Oh, yeah.
Mancini.
We went over the beginning, the high spot, and the fucking finish. That was it. Perez will attest to that. That's it.
Absolutely.
Everything else was done in the ring. So anyway, I must have had some lead in me when we got into the ring.
Not a good thing with Haku.
No, I locked up with him like a wet fucking noodle, and he felt it. So he pushed me to the ropes, and I thought he was gonna, give me a knee or something and throw me off and call. It was a house show, it wasn't TV. Instead, he put his forearm on my chest, and I leaned over the top rope as if the ref was gonna come in and go break it up. But we were in the middle of the ropes. We weren't in the corner. And he takes his hand and he buried it into my stomach. Buried it.
How did that feel, Mancini?
Like, you know what it felt like? I'm going to tell you what it felt like, Big Daddy. It felt like I was standing right in front of a fucking cannon and it went off, okay? So he takes me in a headlock and takes me down. He goes, "Are you awake now?" And we had a great match. So
amazing.
But here's the funny part. When we got into the dressing room,
what could possibly be funny with anything with Haku?
This is the funny part. It is.
AKA Ming.
We get back into the dressing room. He's smiling and laughing. I'm smiling and laughing. We're hugging. I go, "I was a little slow there in the beginning, brother." And I paused and I went, "I owe you one." And he goes, "What?" And I said, no, Haku, I mean a better match. A better match.
Wow.
I owe you a better, because you're talking about a man who...
Mancini, you're taking your life into your own hands.
Listen, you're talking about a man who bit another man's nose right off his face. He bit his fucking nose right off his face.
A legendary bar fight. Hey, listen, Haku, Ming, whatever you want to call him. Tonga, he had several names. Kid, you know who Haku is.
I just Googled him, yeah.
Are you trying to tell me... Big Jim, grab the microphone for a second before we give it Mancini.
I want to chop
the
ever-loving Christ out of you right now. I'd like just to watch the Holy Ghost.
Jim, don't. You're going to cave his chest in, Big Jim. Please don't do it.
I'm only 19.
I don't care.
Kid, you better listen. When you hang around with guys like this podcast, you're the 18 to 25 demographic. Your Boost Company Oxygen is doing amazing. But Big Jim, if he's going to cave your chest in. So Mancini... In your opinion, back to the 80s, who do you believe were the toughest men in wrestling? Obviously, there was Haku. You hear stories about Don Morocco, Superfly, Jimmy Snuka, Andre the Giant. Obviously, who the legendary shooter, as Big Jim just said, Harley Race. You tell me.
Rick Rude.
Rick Rude was also another tough individual.
Legit tough. Roma.
Well, Roma is a legit badass. We already know that.
It's said in pro wrestling that there's two types of people. There are legit badasses and then just entertainers. You know, like the Rougeau brothers were entertainers. They weren't fighters. I consider myself 50-50 because I got my nose broken and I said, "Fuck you, I'm coming back." And they put me with the same guy again and I still said, "Break it again, I don't care."
Mancini, make no mistake about it, you're a fighter.
Either I'm stupid or I was just a little tough.
Well, maybe Mancini, a little bit of both. Fans, as we sit here, Big Jim has just put on the hood of his jacket, and he looks like the Grim Reaper.
It's just a little chilly in here, man. You don't have to take it to that level.
So, are you trying to well, how do I say this? Are you trying to assume or say or acclimate, as Mancini would say, that Big Steve maybe didn't pay the heat bill down here?
No, I'm saying I'm not feeling well and it's a little cold in here.
Well, I tell you one thing, Big Jim, you certainly scared a rat's off cheesecake. Hey, back to Mancini cheesecake. Mancini's cheesecake.
I haven't made a cheesecake in a while.
Kid, I got lucky. Big Jim didn't chop me on that one. I don't know if he got it.
You guys
he's
aren't
big.
Close enough.
He's big. He's strong. I don't want to say anything else. I don't know how much else. So, kid, while we're here, Perez, how many minutes are we in?
We're in 55 minutes.
55. Hey, listen, I want to break down something quick. Actually, I'm going to hand it over to the kid because he hasn't said a word. Breaking news, fans. Besides Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling, we know what's happening. Stay tuned to next week's podcast. And Big Jim, I would like to get your opinion, and yours too, Mancini, about the competition now. Well, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Chris Jericho, Tony Khan of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and his father, who's worth over $7 billion, in All Elite Wrestling at the press conference and rally.
Well, Big Daddy, I'm going to hand this over to Big Jim, but I'm going to say what my opinion.
Competition for Vince McMahon.
Competition on what you just said is very important for my opinion. Being 35 years in the wrestling business of everything you just mentioned, I don't give a fuck. So here.
Folks, you heard it there from Mancini.
So
he doesn't give a fuck, and we're bringing Big Jym Anderson back into the booth. We're coming up on an hour. We're going to try to break this down, but fans, we had to cover this. Put all the chicanery aside, the Paradise News. We have to cover the breaking news and the rally from just a couple days ago of All Elite Wrestling. Kid, I know you were watching Fightful. Sean Ross Sapp, Dave Meltzer. I know we were listening to JD from New York. Listen, there's a lot of people. Busted Open Radio with Bully Ray and La Greca. It doesn't get much better. Give me your impression, and then we're going to have Jim's viewpoint on this also, since he's currently in the business and no one to be trifled with. All Elite Wrestling and the press conference and rally. It's unbelievable competition.
Well, they have a good nucleus of the business right now. They still have a lot more steps to go, obviously, because they're just starting out. But I think right now where they are is very good, having the Young Bucks and Cody kind of run the system. But I don't like the inexperience of the owner.
Well, you're right. You're talking about the cons. The Jacksonville Jaguars,
and they also have a lot other things on their plate. They own the Jaguars. They own another English soccer team overseas. So I don't think this is going to be in their main focus.
$7 billion. And Big Jim and Perez, Mancini, I hope you're listening. Do you know what the Khan family invented? He is the innovator, if I read this right, of the plastic bumper. That's why he's worth $7 billion.
They own a car business as well.
Plastic bumpers, kid.
Yeah, they own a car business as well. So they have a lot on their plate. So that's why I don't think they're going to be focused on this company as much as Vince McMahon will be or someone else.
Well, Mario has said it several times. Nobody's ever going to topple Vince McMahon on the WWE.
On a serious opinion, though, when you're a guy who has that kind of money, when you're a guy that has that kind of money, you have that kind of time on your hands with a good nucleus, as you said, of young, really experienced international wrestlers. You're going to hire the proper people to run the company that you don't have to pay attention to it. So I believe that they will get a good, proper structure business-wise in there. And once they seal a TV deal, it's going to be on. I mean, right now, the WWE product in general, not that great.
And that's what I talk about, Mancini's always thinking I'm bad-mouthing the McMahons and Vince McMahon. That's not what I do in all seriousness. It's the product. And that's why I think All Elite, with Jericho showing up there, the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes running the show. Kid, tell me some of the other talent and the female talent. There's only a few of them that have been signed by AEW.
They only have 3 right now. They have Penelope Ford, Britt Baker, and Brandy Rhodes, obviously. Other than that, they have MJF, Pac, Chris Jericho, SCU, Adam Page, the Young Bucks, and Cody.
MJF. Now, Big Jim, I want your opinion on this. MJF reminds me of a lot of Richard Holiday. They're very similar, cocky, arrogant, excellent, and technically sound, both very young. What do you think of MJF as a new star that's signing with AEW? And they're going to give this kid a huge push.
Talented young wrestler, up and coming. He's, listen, at this point, with everything that they have going on over there, their talent pool is amazing. And they're still going to continue to grow. They hired Bill Goldberg to work behind the scenes. They hired Billy Gunn to work behind the scenes. Goldberg
and Billy Gunn, it doesn't get, listen. So, that's where Paul Perez just said it in the earpiece. That's a lie. I'm not wearing a fucking earpiece. I don't want to say that.
Wow.
I threw myself under the bus. With all that money, that's why they're bringing in so many people. Look at the talent that they're bringing in. Guys that you may have worked with that are from this area. Joey Janela's one of them. He's another guy from this area. Unbelievable what's happening with AEW. WGN. Maybe they're going to sign a deal there. They're not sure yet.
But I've said once they nail down that TV deal and get some depth into that roster, they're set. Have a weekly TV show and like a monthly pay-per-view or every 2 months, whatever they want to do. Because right now they only have 2 events announced.
The big one, which is the follow-up to All In, is going to be, and kid, I know you have this, I'm reading my notes.
May 25th.
Las
Vegas, MGM Grand Arena. But
Double or Nothing.
But once they knock...
They're going to have a star cast, too. Listen, and I'm going to bring this up right now. Mario Mancini makes like 7 figures a year. We are going out to fucking Las Vegas for Mario Chaos featuring the Kid podcast with our producer Paul Perez. We're going out to the MGM. We're going to StarCast 2 with Conrad Thompson. And Mancini's fucking paying for all of it. And that's what's happening. We're going to be out there.
I'm
telling
for the
you.
fact that while you guys are standing outside the door waiting to get in, Mancini will be at the Bunny Ranch, and you'll be wondering what the hell he's doing.
The Bunny Ranch? Go ahead, Mancini.
What's the Bunny Ranch?
What? Now, kid, do you know
Is
what the
that
Bunny
that
Ranch
place
is?
they had the HBO special on?
The HBO special, Mancini.
You're
don't have
talking about
HBO.
the whorehouse in Vegas?
Kid, what do you know about the Bunny Ranch?
I don't know
Mancini,
anything.
I've been to Vegas, but I've never been to the Bunny Ranch.
Well, you know what? There's a song that says it. I've never been to me. But let me tell you
Well,
something.
let me hear it on your
Let me-
one-hit
let me-
wonder
let-
car
let-
karaoke.
Let me tell you something, Big Daddy. I would like to keep my parts disease free.
Raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Crying's not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me. And we are right now currently disease and drug free
And let me
here
tell you
at
something,
Mario
Big Daddy.
Chaos and the Kid.
I just want to make one thing clear.
Make it clear, Mancini.
Don't you think for a fucking minute Vince McMahon lays in his bed? Don't you think if you looked Vince McMahon, if you were in a room alone with Vince McMahon,
Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
and you were a fucking leprechaun, and you said, "Listen to me, Vince, you can keep wrestling today, or I could snap my fingers and bring you back to 1987. Don't you think he'd love to go back there? Do you think he liked the way professional wrestling evolved? He had no choice but to change with the times.
That's a valid point, Mancini.
But Vince McMahon knows.
Hamana. Well, you
Vince
know what they say.
McMahon
Go ahead.
knows deep in his heart. He knows what professional wrestling is supposed to be, what it was, and what it really is.
Well, back to my point of when I say fuck the WWE and fuck the product, Vince McMahon is not behind the scenes writing the stories like somebody from General Hospital, to my point on several podcasts back. They have people from the music industry and from Reuters or wherever.
Again,
Vince McMahon is not
I'll
responsible.
say-
He makes the ultimate decision.
I'll say the million and one times. It was at the table. Vince McMahon,
Little vociferous.
Gino Morella,
Not to be confused with cantankerous.
Pat Patterson, Terry Garvin, Arnold Skolin, Chief Jay Strongbow, Howard Finkel.
Legends.
These are the men that sat around the table and made those storylines. Who decided who's going to get a push, who's coming up,
Storytellers.
what angles they're going to run. And now you have motherfuckers that don't know the difference between a hammerlock and a padlock writing these fucking stories.
Mancini, I love it when you're vociferous. Let's have Big Jim. I guess we could say right now, fuck AEW too right now. Go ahead, Big Jim.
Here's my opinion on it. Not to
Talk
take
into the
anything-
microphone.
Not to
Perez
take
has told you
anything
3
away.
fucking times,
Please
big
don't
man.
make me get up.
I'm sorry. No. Don't, the kid, don't wait. The kid, help me here, please. Jesus Christ.
I'm not helping you, Big Daddy.
Hamana.
You get what's coming to you.
Story of my life. Go ahead, Big Jim.
As Mancini brought up, there's a lot of talent in the WWE currently. The issue is there's no more storytelling. You get a feud for 3 weeks and then it's over. You don't get time to build and then have a big blow off. Instead, you're watching 7 or 8 little mini feuds that you want to get invested in, but you can't because you know next week it's going to be something different.
Well, make no mistake about it, the athletes and the guys that are in the WWE, they're there for a reason. They're the top of the craft. They're the best at what they do. Make no mistake about it, their athletic ability is unbelievable. And back to AEW, and see, that's why you're here, Jim, not only because of the Meadowlands Monster and what's coming up and you calling out the whole fucking dressing room from Paradise Alley. That's why you're here, though, to give the insight like Mancini's credibility for the WWE.
You know, do you realize the first storyline I ever watched in my life?
Mancini, tell me.
The first storyline I ever watched in my life was Stan Hansen breaking San Martino's neck. That was the first storyline I ever saw. Thereafter,
amazing.
The next storyline I followed was Greg the Hammer Valentine in 1979 breaking Strongbow's neck.
Your mentor.
My second father, my mentor. That led to, you know, Pedro Morales and Don Morocco.
Unbelievable feud.
81, 82. Then you had Snuka and Piper. You know, those storylines. You had Snuka in Morocco, probably one of the best storylines ever. Okay.
Well, obviously,
right.
the classic moment.
In that steel cage in 83
Thank
in the
you,
Garden,
Mancini.
where I will say to this day and every day, the best promo in pro wrestling history was the interview with the Magnificent Morocco in the dressing room that night. If somebody wants to see the best promo you've ever seen in your life, it's the Magnificent Morocco in 1983 before the steel cage match with Jimmy Snuka. That is the best promo ever cut in the history of wrestling.
Well, I have to agree with you there. I'm very familiar with that promo. And fans, go out to YouTube. Go Google it. That match from the Garden, the steel cage match, is legendary, where Jimmy went all the way up to the top and jumped on a flying body press.
I tell you what, the finish was
bloody Don Morocco.
The finish was genius.
Unbelievable.
It was genius because Morocco went over and Snuka stayed alive by screwing himself. Morocco was near the door.
I heard he was well endowed, Mancini.
Snuka hit the ropes.
Just saying.
Snuka hit the ropes, came with a flying headbutt. Headbutted Morocco. Morocco went through the middle rope and rolled right out the door.
Well, Don Morocco, as you well said, the original Rock. A lot of people, there's a lot of stuff on social media. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
He loved me. I loved him.
You said it here before. Don Morocco was the Rock.
Yeah.
Long before
Rock.
Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson, yeah.
Do you know who Dwayne Johnson is, kid?
I know who Dwayne Johnson. I know who Don Morocco is too.
Oh, this is.
Oh, that's good. Big Daddy, are we a wrap?
How many minutes are we in? Because we never talked about All Elite Wrestling, and that's okay because we really don't.
I bet you we're an hour and 7 minutes in. Hour and 9 minutes.
Hour and 9 minutes. Listen, fans, we've had a great time here tonight. I want to thank Big Jym Anderson, everybody for listening. The kid is here. I want to give a special thanks and a shout out. And when they listen to this podcast, I hope they listen to it with earphones on or so no one else hears it. A special shout out to the Stettinger family, Jen and Jess Stettinger, two beautiful human beings who I love very much, who are here at the live audience tonight. And Mancini, it doesn't get any better than Jen and Jess Stettinger.
It doesn't.
Well, kid, do you want to say something? You want to throw something in there? Wait, let me not say that. You didn't have any luck with the girl at Rite Aid.
No.
But
she's out of the picture. So
well, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, I left Rite Aid after 2.5 years, so I don't want to jump back in that pool. So, but that's pretty much it. We didn't talk about AEW a lot, which there's really not much to talk about. They haven't had any events. They don't have any TV deals.
No, but it's breaking news, and I wanted to touch on that. Listen, we're all about Paradise Alley professional wrestling. Mancini, we're way over the rails here. I want you to take us out for episode number 9.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with the Mario Chaos and the Kid Show. Please give us your feedback. And remember, guys, when we're on here, we're definitely in character. So If we offended anybody, well, don't listen. We'll see you next week.